about Sri S. Shivaram, who was a veteran Kannada actor who he was a very well recognized and well respected Kannada film personality. Was born in 1938 and sadly passed away yesterday. So he has been in the Kannada film industry for more than 60 years actually, Sri S. Shivaram. And he's, as I said, he's a very well-respected gentleman. So not just because he was a very good filmmaker, but also a very well-known philanthropist. He worked tirelessly for the upliftment of especially differently abled children. So he came to UK Chesterfield Yugadi event in 2016. He was actually accompanied by 20 blind children whom he had personally trained to perform a dance drama. And he was touring the world in 2016. So he came and he gave a performance with these children in our Yugadi event in 2016. So we are eternally grateful for this great soul. As a mark of respect, can we observe a minute silence before we start today's event, please? Thank you. Prahlad-ji, over to you now.
Shall we start? Hello. Welcome to all of you. Once again, thank you all for sacrificing your Sunday programs and coming over today's program. Today we are going to cover about Kapalbhati Pranayama. Dr. Sneha Kulkarni phoned me up the other day and told me that I should revise all the Bhastrika Pranayams which we did last Sunday. So what I have decided is next Sunday, the first half session, we'll revise all the Bhastrika Pranayam done on the last Sunday and the Kapalbhati Pranayam which we are going to do today. So next Sunday, first half of the session, we'll revise both the pranayams, that is the Bhastrika and Kapalbhati. And next Sunday, second half session of the next Sunday, Dr. Nitin will be talking about his clinical trials on meditation, and he may also give a guided meditation. That he will do in the second half of the session, and the first half of the session will revise all the pranayams like Bhastrika and Kapalbhati. Today, we will devote entirely to Kapalbhati Pranayama. As you know, Kapalbhati is one of the very important cleansing and detoxification pranayam. Actually, in the yoga, there are two very important detoxification processes. One is called the Shankha Prakshalana Kriya. The second is the Kapalbhati. Shankha Prakshalana Kriya is for detoxifying and cleansing the entire digestive system. And Kapalbhati Pranayam is cleansing and detoxification of the entire respiratory system. I think Kapalbhati Pranayam is very similar to the Shankha Prakshalana Kriya for detoxifying the digestive system. I just want to little bit brief about what is Shankha Prakshalana Kriya. Shankha Prakshalana Kriya involves drinking 3 glasses of water first, then moving the various components of the digestive system, like the liver, the kidneys, the intestine, and all of them, moving in various directions after drinking 3 glasses of water. After some time, one has to go to the toilet, and initially from the rectum, the solid waste will be passed out. Then you have to come out again and drink another 3 glasses of water. Then again do some of the yogic kriyas for moving and shaking the various parts in the abdominal cavity. Then after some time, you will have to go once again, second time to the toilet. Then again, some more solid waste will come out. So as you go on doing drinking water and moving the abdominal parts and all that, finally, only liquid waste will start coming from the rectum. And you have to continue this process till what comes from the rectum, only pure water will be coming. There will be no difference between the water that you are drinking and the water that comes from the rectum. This is a very powerful cleansing process. Once you do this Shankha Prakshalana Kriya, then the entire alimentary canal, starting from the mouth, small intestine, large intestine, up to the rectum, the entire alimentary canal will be shining like gold. It becomes so pure, and that removes many of the digestive disorders. In a similar way, this Kapalbhati is purification and purging of the respiratory system. What you have to do is, you have to move the various parts involved in the respiratory system. The lower respiratory channel, the upper respiratory channel, and you have to go on doing till the entire stale air in the lungs is totally thrown out. So the process of Kapalbhati Pranayam, there you have to do all over the body, all over the entire respiratory system you have to get involved, and it is exhalation dominated process. So you will have to do the Kapalbhati Pranayam over 6 segments of your body, which we are now today, we are going to practice all those Kapalbhati Pranayams. Before starting with the actual process and giving you the practices, I want to demonstrate what are all the practices we are going to do today. So first of all, abdominal. You have to start with the abdominal or diaphragmatic. So you have to stroke the abdomen inside, synchronize with the exhalation. Take the abdomen inside, exhale. Another inside, exhale. Like this, I'll show you. I'm only exhaling now. Exhale, exhale, exhale. You are not doing anything. We are going to practice all of them at a later stage. I'm only demonstrating all of them. This is the first practice. Abdominal front back stroking Kapalbhati. Then abdominal up stroking Kapalbhati. You have to push the abdomen up, exhale, exhale, exhale. Watch me now. Then you have to push the abdomen left and right, exhale, exhale, exhale. Watch me. Then you have to rotate the abdomen clockwise, exhale, anti-clockwise, exhale. Watch me. So once we do this one, the entire lower lungs, because the abdomen diaphragmatic handles the lower part of the lungs, which handles 2/3 of the ventilation, which exchange of the oxygen, carbon dioxide to the blood, that happens in the lower part of the lungs, which handles about 2/3 volume. So by doing this abdominal movement synchronized with exhalation, it cleanses the lower part of the lungs. It just like in Shankha Prakshalana Kriya, we are cleansing the entire digestive system. This abdominal Kapalbhati cleanses the lower part of the lung. Then you have to go to the Intercoastal Kapalbhati. Purging the lower part of the lungs. Now we have to purge the middle part of the lungs. That is done by Intercoastal Kapalbhati, in which you downstroking of the rib cage synchronized with the exhalation, like this. This will purge, remove all the residual air trapped in the middle part of the alveoli of the lungs. Now we have to purge, cleanse, and detoxify the upper part of the lungs, for which we have to do Clavicular Kapalbhati. Like that is like this. See, this is different from the Bhastrika which we did last time. In last time when we were doing Bhastrika, we were active inhalation, active exhalation. We are doing like this. But in Kapalbhati, it is only exhalation dominated, like this. This will purify and detoxify and removing all the stale air trapped in the upper part of the lungs. Then we'll be detoxifying the neck, the pharynx region. We'll be detoxifying the pharynx region. That is, we have to do Kapalbhati with the mouth. There are 3 Kapalbhatis by the, neck, mouth, and nasal channel. Neck Kapalbhati will be then side stroking, again exhalation, exhalation, exhalation. Then ear to shoulder Kapalbhati. I am exhaling all the time. Then up stroking Kapalbhati. Then rotational Kapalbhati. Then mouth Kapalbhati. We have to exhale from the mouth. Exhale, exhale, exhale. There are 3 versions in this. This is Sitali Kapalbhati. Then Sitkari Kapalbhati. Then Sumo Mudra Kapalbhati. Then nasal Kapalbhati. Left nostril Kapalbhati, right nostril Kapalbhati, alternative nostril Kapalbhati. Exhale, exhale, exhale. This way. Then alternative nostril. Then both nostrils together. By doing this, we are purging the entire respiratory channel. Because what happens? Whatever the air goes into the lungs, it is only that part of the air which is in the alveoli, the end part of the respiratory system, end of the lower respiratory tract. It is only the alveoli where oxygen and carbon dioxide are exchanged with the blood. Rest of the air, which is, for example, in the trachea, in the mouth, in the nasal channel, they don't participate in the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide. So stale air remains there. So in this purification, detoxification process of the respiratory system, we are removing all the stale air in the entire respiratory channel. Respiratory channel starts from the nasal cavity, then the throat, then the trachea, then the bronchus, then bronchioli, then the alveoli. This is the entire respiratory system. We are cleansing the entire respiratory system. This is a wonderful cleaning process. Many of the health disorders, they get resolved just by this cleansing process only. Just like Shankha Prakshalana Kriya resolves many of the digestive problem issues, like that, this Kapalbhati, which is purging of the entire respiratory channel, resolves many of the respiratory related health disorders. So that is why this is a very important pranayam. We are going to do all those pranayam. Now I want to tell a little bit chemistry of what happens. Once you are exhaling so much, normally we exhale only 15 times per minute. We inhale 15 times per minute and exhale 15 times per minute. But in this pranayam, we are exhaling 50 to 60 times. For example, I am exhaling 60 times per minute. That means so much carbon dioxide you are removing. Normally you don't remove so much carbon dioxide, but now you are removing so much carbon dioxide, the carbon dioxide level in the blood goes down. And once the carbon dioxide level in the blood goes down, very interesting things happen to the blood chemistry and the physiology. Once the carbon dioxide level in the blood goes down, excessive lactic acid and uric acid, which are accumulated in our body, in the muscles, which are the important reasons for many of our health disorders, they get removed, they get decomposed. The excessive lactic acid and the uric acid, they get decomposed when the carbon dioxide level in the blood goes down. That is one of the very important thing happens. Because that way, it restores many functions of the body. Another thing that happens is the impulsive constrictions and relaxation. For example, when I am doing Kapalbhati with the rib cage, when I do this, now the rib cage, when I am downstroking the rib cage is moving at a high velocity and suddenly it is stopped. Like this. Then it is stopped and relaxed again. So these fast constriction and relaxation, they improve the functioning of all the organs, because all the organs, they are pressed and immediately relaxed. See, for example, gardening, if you see when you are gardening the plant, when the pipe is there, you close the end of the pipe, water is not coming out of the pipe. Then the pressure on the backside is building. Then when you release, open the thing, suddenly water will gush. Similarly, when we are doing this one, the entire blood vessels, lymph vessels, all of these things are crushed. Then suddenly release, the blood flow will start flowing at high velocity. So this is another important thing that happens, all the organs, the muscles, the lymph vessel, blood vessels, immunity system, entire things gets rejuvenated. They comes to tremendous functioning capacity. So that is the importance of Kapalbhati Pranayam. We are going to practice all these pranayams, and there are many, many more benefits which we'll explain while practicing the particular one. Now we'll start the practice now. We'll start with the Kapalbhati at the abdominal level. So as we did last time, we'll follow a 4-step process. In the first step, I will demonstrate and explain. You are not practicing at that time. The second step, I will be demonstrating and you will be practicing along with me. Then the third step, I will explain what are the advantages of this particular thing. At that time, you are not practicing. At the fourth step, we'll have one more practice. Okay, so we will follow the 4-step process of practicing. So first we will start back stroking of the abdomen. You have to pull the abdomen in and exhale. Another pull, exhale. Now I am demonstrating. You need not know. Watch me now. I am just pulling the abdomen inside and exhaling. One round of this will be, I relax, then come back. Second round will be, I come back. Third round will be, then series of this. So can you try now? How you get it? Please try. Don't put too much of effort. Listen to your body and the mind. Then start doing abdomen. Abdomen you have to pull in, exhale. Only one round you do first. Like this. Yes. Please start doing. I'm not seeing anybody doing on the screen. Only Vinod is not on the screen. I'm not able to see any of you doing on the screen. Okay. Please come back. Now we'll do side, we'll do up Kapalbhati. You have to pull the abdomen up, breathe out, like this. Please try. Now try side. You pull the abdomen to the side, breathe out. Left pull out, breathe out. Right pull out. So both sides breathe out, breathe out, breathe out. It will take some practice to do this one. Does not matter. Okay. So we'll come back to this again. We'll come back to this again after some time. So this is a difficult pranayam. That is why abdominal pranayams, I never do give it first, because many people don't have control over the abdomen. But abdomen Kapalbhati is very, very important, as you know. When the most important thing that happens is abdominal cavity, there are very important organs located in the abdominal cavity. And glands are also there. For example, liver is there, kidney is there, large intestine, small intestine, sexual glands, lots of organs. Density of the organs in the abdominal cavity is very large. And then we have endocrine glands like pancreas, adrenaline. Then we have got lymphatic gland like spleen is there. So all these things are important organs located in the abdominal cavity. Unfortunately, the organs in the abdominal cavity are not protected. For example, the heart and the lungs are protected because there is a bony cage here, rib cage is there. You cannot penetrate. So organs are very safe. For example, the brain. Brain, there is a skull. You cannot directly damage the brain. But unfortunately, abdominal cavity is not protected. So the moment you are having any anxiety, depression, some psychological fears, anxiety disorders, such things happen. The wisdom of the body thinks it is a real danger. So then the abdominal will becomes very tight, it will become very tight. And that is how it protects. It becomes very, very tight to protect the organs inside. But unfortunately, when the real danger happens, it comes back. Normally, the abdominal, the tightness comes back to normal flexibility. But when it is a psychological fear, anxiety, worries and all that, it is a continued thing. So the tightened abdomen cavity remains tightened. That is how we get a lot of psychosomatic disorders like diabetes, lot of ulcers, lot of abdominal diseases happen due to psychosomatic because abdominal wall becomes tight. By doing these practices, we are cleansing and removing the lactic acid and uric acid which are accumulated and the functioning of all the abdominal organs improves tremendously. So it resolves many problems. That is one of the most important things. This you can call these stresses, the psychological stresses, they settle at the physical level. For example, some of the psychological stresses, they settle at the abdominal level. Some of them will settle at the lungs, at the level of the lungs. Some of them will settle at the throat. For example, if one is giving a speech and there is a anxiety, then speech won't come at all. There is a fear. The whole vocal cord will not be able to produce the sound. That is because the psychological fear of anxiety, they settle at the physical level. In this type of Kapalbhati, all these physical stresses are removed. You can say it is a sort of somatopsychic. The physical disorders leads to mental disorders, psychological problems. COVID is one very important thing. The very fear that I have got the COVID itself creates a lot of more physical disorders, more psychological things like that. So whatever the stresses stored in our abdominal cavity due to our fears, anxiety, and things like that, which settle at the abdominal level, they are solved by doing this Kapalbhati practices at the abdominal level. After this, now we'll come to Intercoastal Kapalbhati. When we are doing abdominal Kapalbhati, we are cleansing and detoxifying the lower part of the lungs, because we are indirectly removing the lactic acid and the uric acid. Because when I am exhaling, the carbon dioxide level in the blood goes down, and the lactic acid and uric acid, which are settles in the various muscles and organs at the abdominal cavity, they are released and the functioning gets removed. So this is a very important detoxification process by doing the abdominal Kapalbhati. Now we'll come back to this again. Again, we'll revise this. Next Sunday, we'll revise all these Kapalbhati practices as well as the Bhastrika practices done on the previous Sundays. Now we'll do Intercoastal Kapalbhati. In this, you have to raise slightly. I will first demonstrate. You are not doing now, then you will be doing. Okay. In this, starting position is like this. You have to slightly stretch the rib cage, then down stroking of the rib cage and breathe out. Again, come back here. Then series of these things. I can see some of you doing. Now you can please practice. Raise your chest to this one, then down stroking, synchronizing with the exhalation. Please do. Yes. I can see some of you are doing so well. So you do your own capacity. You don't have to worry. Yeah. Please stop. See, this Kapalbhati is a energy efficient process, because in Kapalbhati, when you are exhaling, you are relaxing the diaphragm. So you are not putting much effort. Whereas when you are doing Bhastrika, when you are inhaling, you are contracting the diaphragm and contracting various other things. So a lot of energy is required. So Bhastrika is energy intensive. You have to put a lot of energy. So those people having some health disorders like diabetes, hypertension, asthma, they have to be very careful when they are doing Bhastrika. But in Kapalbhati, we don't have to worry at all, because very little energy is consumed, because we are exhaling. When you exhale, the heart rate is low, and you are in the diaphragm is relaxing. When you exhale, the diaphragm is relaxing, not contracting. So it is a energy efficient process. So only you have to prepare your mind and willpower that it is not at all harming. It is absolutely innocent but powerful pranayama. Okay, so all of you can initially you can do at a slow speed, like all other pranayams. You can do at 3 speeds. One is the low speed, intermediate speed, and high speed. For example, lowest speed will be you walk. While walking, you exhale. You walk, or you can jog, or you can run, depending upon your capabilities and your need. For example, I can do this Intercoastal Kapalbhati very slowly. Can you do? Now it has very slow speed. Yeah, please stop, please stop. So when we do this pranayam, we are purging the alveoli of the middle part of the lungs, So we are cleansing the air that is trapped in the middle part of the lungs. So the functioning of the lungs improves very much. And because of this, sudden constrictions and relaxation, continuous repeated constrictions, relaxation, constriction, relaxation, it improves the functioning of all the organs located in this cavity. Again, as before, the carbon dioxide level, because I am only exhaling, the carbon dioxide level in the blood goes down, then the lactic acid and uric acid, which is accumulated in these muscles and organs in the chest, rib cage, they all get removed and the functioning of the organs improves. And similarly, many of the psychosomatic things, due to our psychological, our worrying, anxiety, worries, depression, fears, these are all unnecessarily we are thinking all the past. And all those psychological fears, they are settled at the level of the rib cage, lungs, heart. Then we have a lot of problems like lung diseases, heart diseases. Many of them are psychosomatic. Whereas here, once you are doing this continuous repeated constrictions and relaxation, all those physical strains which have settled due to our psychological problems in this region, they get resolved. So it's a very, very important practice. So the second Kapalbhati is Intercoastal Kapalbhati. The next Kapalbhati is Clavicular Kapalbhati in the upper part of the thing. This detoxifies and cleanses the upper part of the body. For example, in this one, this is a starting position. I'm demonstrating first. This is a starting position. And when the clavicle goes down, that means the upper arm goes down, then we are breathing out, breathing out, breathing out. Watch me. This will detoxify this upper chest region, shoulders. Those people have a tendency to freezing of the shoulders and many problems in the hands, excessive lactic acid, uric acid accumulated here, which makes the muscles lose their tone. This excessive lactic acid makes the muscles lose their tone. Then we get all sorts of muscle problems, joint problems, and things like that. So all those problems connected with the muscles and joints in the hands, the shoulder blade, sternum, they all get resolved. So this is this Kapalbhati for cleansing and detoxifying. It's not much energy giving like Bhastrika. Bhastrika, there is oxygen richness and it gives you a lot of energy. Here, oxygen richness is not there, but it is a deficiency of carbon dioxide. So it is a detoxification process, just like Shankha Prakshalana Kriya. We are doing it at this level. So once again, can you please practice this? So this is the starting position. When the upper arm is coming down, breathe out. Then again go back to original position. Then another. You are doing very well. I can see many of you doing quite well. So not much energy is involved in this one. So you don't have to have absolutely no fear at all, Even those people having any physical health related problems, they can all do this. But only you have to be mentally, you have to strengthen and willpower that this is not. Otherwise, many people are afraid, because you are breathing out, breathing out, breathing out. Many people think that there is not oxygen at all. They start this due to psychological fear. They start getting giddiness and all sorts of things here. But enough oxygenation happens here. In between the two exhalations, enough oxygen goes inside. So oxygenation is not very much reduced. It is slightly reduced, but not at all reduced. Not at all very much reduced. It is sufficient to maintain the functioning of all the organs. So Kapalbhati is very energy efficient process. Much energy is not involved because you are breathing, exhalation, exhalation, exhalation. Inhalation consumes a lot of energy. So once again, we'll practice this. This is a starting position. This is a starting position. Then when it is coming down, you exhale, and depending upon your capability of your body and the mind and your willpower, you please start at your own speed. Very nice. I can see you're all doing very well. Very well. Okay. Okay. Now we'll stop at this. We'll stop at this. Now we'll go for the next. This neck thing. Neck is very, very. See, these pranayams are very important. For example, when we are doing abdominal Kapalbhati, there are three important chakras, here. Muladhara chakra, Swadhisthana chakra, and Manipura chakra. These three important chakras, which are the energy distribution plexuses, you can say some proper place. It's a proper place. Okay, it will come back. I think it's better if you sit here. Yeah. Yeah. So in this pranayam, we are doing at the neck level. We are doing at the neck level. So when the starting position is here, when the neck comes down, you breathe out. Watch me first. I'm only demonstrating now. Again, starting position is back of the head. When it's coming down, breathe out. Then again, you relax. When going up, don't breathe in. It's a passive inhalation. Then when the neck is coming, when the head is coming down, breathe out, breathe out, breathe out. Watch me. Yeah, can you please do now? Please put all your attention on your own body. Now put your attention on the neck and the breathing. When the head is coming down, breathe out, breathe out, breathe out. All the time breathing out, out, out. Yeah, very nice. Okay, okay. Please come back. Please come back. Now we'll do the side. When the neck is going, you stroke the neck on the left side, breathe out. Right side, breathe out. All the time you are breathing out. Watch me now. I will demonstrate. You need not do now. Afterwards, you will do. Can you do? Neck is a very delicate organ. So you can do it depending upon your condition of your neck, condition of your thing and all that. You can do it slowly. Even if you do little, it's quite fine. Both ways. Both ways you breathe out. Left side, when you are stroking, breathe out. Right side, you breathe out. Both sides breathing out all the time. Very nice. I can see you are doing very well. Because you are breathing out all the time. the carbon dioxide deficiency is there now. Carbon dioxide level in the blood going down now. And that will detoxify in the neck region. Then ear to shoulder, just like we did in Vastrika. So this way also you breathe out. This way, I'll show you now. I'll show you now. Can you do? Please do. Either way. You do this way, breathe out, breathe out, breathe out, breathe out. At your own pace. Breathing rate, range of the movement. Everything depends on your own capability. Yes. Okay, okay, come back, come back. Then the clockwise, the angular neck is capable of so many movements, you know. It can go back and forth, left, and it can rotate, angular rotation and all that. So one clockwise angular rotation, breathe out. Next rotation, breathe out, breathe out, breathe out, breathe out. This is glottis Kapalbhati. Watch me now. I will show you now. Do it delicately. If you are having cervical spondylosis, neck problem and all that, slowly you start doing. Once you start doing slowly, then slowly, most of the problems connected with the neck, they get resolved. So do it slowly, clockwise direction, you breathe out, anti-clockwise, breathe out. Breathe out, breathe out. Please do. Can you please do? Yes. Do it very, very carefully, slowly. I can see you are doing quite well. You are doing quite well. Yeah. 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 Then neck up and down. This is a little difficult one, but this is the one which actually solves most of the cervical spondylosis problem. Because this neck, there are a bundle of muscles, you know, which connect the vertebral column, the shoulder, and the sternum to the skull. The whole head is supported by these things here. If this neck muscles don't work properly, then we may be like this all the time, you know. So this Kapalbhati Pranayam detoxifying, purifies all these neck muscles. Every fiber in the neck muscles is purified. So it improves the health of this one. So this Kapalbhati, this I will show you, but this will come after a little bit more practice. Here you have to stretch and contract the neck. When the neck goes up, you have to breathe out. Then neck stretching, breathe out, breathe out. What we know? It's a difficult one. After practicing the other one, it will come a little bit. After some time, it will come. You require a lot of patience and all that to do this. So these neck muscles are very, very important because in the neck, and this you got the vocal cord here, glottis is there. So this cleanses up. This cleanses the pharynx region. Pharynx region, as I told the other day, is a very important part in yoga. Pharynx is called a palace with 7 guards or 7 doors. For example, when you take the food and water is thrown into the throat, in the neck, then food is directed to the food pipe. Water is directed to the food pipe. And when the air goes to the nasal channel, air goes into the respiratory channel. If by mistake food goes into the respiratory channel, then it could be fatal also. So in the pharynx, a lot of functions are coordinated, you know. For example, many of the these eustachic tubes are there. Eustachic tubes, which are the middle ear. Middle ear is connected at the pharynx level. So when you are breathing with the neck, mouth, and nasal cavity, the eustachic tubes, they get adjusted. Many times, the hearing problems with the middle ear and inner ear, they get resolved when you do this pranayama. So this pharynx, it purifies neck, mouth, and nasal. They are all meant for the pharynx region. They purify and improve the functioning of the pharynx region. So we did the Kapalbhati at the neck level with it. The advantages of the neck, as I said, it strengthens all the neck muscles. And many of these our psychological stresses which are settled at the neck level. For example, vocal cord, vocal cord is immediate. If you are anxious, worried, and all that, you cannot even speak. Words won't come at all because of that fear, fear of speaking and things like that. Because those psychological stresses, they have settled at the level of the vocal cord and here. And as you know, here this thymus, the various glands are also there. Thymus gland is here. And here we've got thyroid and parathyroid are there, which are very, very important here. So by doing this Kapalbhati, that is the neck Kapalbhati or glottis Kapalbhati, you purify this entire region, the functioning of the vocal cord, then the thymus gland. And there are two other important glands here, the tonsils and the adenoid. So they are connected to the immunity system, So by cleansing the pharynx region, you are cleansing and improving the functioning of the tonsils, adenoid, then the vocal cord and various other things. And there is also another important thing, which is the blood pressure monitor, which is located in upper part of the things here. They all get carotid sinus. It's called carotid sinus. It is in the pharynx region. If the carotid sinus doesn't work, it is a blood pressure monitor. If it doesn't function, then your blood pressure will be unregulated. Your hypertension will start, so many other things. The functioning of the carotid sinus, the adenoid, the tonsils, all those functions are located in this pharynx region. So this Kapalbhati of the neck, the mouth, and the nasal, they resolve many problems connected with the pharynx region. So we finished today this Kapalbhati. Then we'll come to mouth Kapalbhati. Mouth Kapalbhati is exhaling with the mouth. There are three versions in this one. One is the Sitali version. In Sitali version, you have to clench the teeth, then touch the tip of the tongue at the teeth, then exhale. Watch me. I'll show you, then you will do. After that, we will do. First, I'll show you. I will show you three versions of this mouth Kapalbhati. It cleanses, it detoxifies all the parts contained in the mouth cavity, like the upper palate, the lower palate, the tongue, then the side membranes and saliva glands. They all gets cleaned up, detoxified. And then the functioning of the mouth improves. Once the functioning of the mouth improves, then automatically the digestive system improves and things like that. Because part of the digestion takes place at the mouth. So in mouth, there are three Kapalbhatis. One is Sitkari Kapalbhati. I'll show you, then we will do it together. This one. Second one is a Sitkari Kapalbhati. You have to slightly project the tongue out of the lips, then breathe out. Third one is Simha Mudra Kapalbhati. In this, you have to project like Simha. Simha Mudra is you project the tongue totally out, then breathe out. What's this? Please watch me. So three Kapalbhati at the mouth level for cleansing and detoxifying. See, this is very, please all the time remember, this is very distinct from Vastrika. Vastrika is energy giving, because oxygen level in the blood goes up and you have a lot of energy supplying to various jogging parts here. Whereas here, because you are breathing out, oxygen level is not much increased, but you are decreasing the carbon dioxide level. Once the carbon dioxide level goes to a very low level in the blood, then blood chemistry changes, the lactic acid and the uric acid, they get decomposed, and purification, detoxification. This is a detoxification process. Just like, always remember, this Kapalbhati is like Shankha Prakshalana Kriya for the alimentary canal, for the food, where you cleanse the entire digestive system, you cleanse, Here, you are cleansing your entire respiratory tract. And once the respiratory tract is cleansed and detoxified, then all the functions, they improve. So now, these three Kapalbhati, can we first to do with Sitali. You have to close that, you have to touch that 2 rows of the teeth, touch each other. Tip of the tongue touches, then start breathing out. Please try. Now try the other one. You try Sitkari Kapalbhati. Slightly project the tongue out of the lips. Lips are open. Yes, you're right. Only breathe out, breathe out, breathe out, breathe out. Yes. Neil is doing well. I can see. Now you can do Sima Mudra Kapalbhati. That is yes, yes. Please stop. So this is another Kapalbhati. We'll again on the coming Sunday, next Sunday, we'll again do all these things, all the Bastrikas which we did last time, and all the Kapalbhati which we did today. We'll do all of them the next Sunday. And you may not be able to remember all these things, but in the book, these things are all explained in so great detail. And you can see also my video thing also you will be able to see. And then please remember that excessive force in all the pranayama, it is very important. You should not use excessive force. You must be, your whole body should be relaxed. Only that differential relaxation, what I told. For example, when the neck is moving, for example, when you are doing this one, at that time, your entire torso is like a stone, absolutely no movement in the torso. Only the neck is moving. For example, neck is moving. My rest of the body is not moving at all. Abdomen is not moving. Rib cage is not moving. Shoulders are not moving. Only the neck is moving. That means all your attention, your thought should be on your own body and it should be on the moving part. Rest of the body, they are all totally relaxed. So this is now, we did the mouth Kapalbhati. As I said before, by doing the mouth Kapalbhati, we are cleansing all the parts located inside the mouth. That is, the teeth will become stronger because when we are doing this Kapalbhati, we are stroking in the front direction. That means all the parts in the mouth, that is the upper palate, the lower palate, the tongue, then the gums, they are all subtle stroking. They are also subtle stroking. They are also stroking. And because of that, they are all getting purified. The entire mouth cavity gets purified. And so also the pharynx also gets purified. And some people who are having bad breath, all those things, once the whole thing purifies, the saliva glands will get activated, purified and detoxified. When we are doing mouth Bastrika, they were getting energizing because we are making so much inhalation, oxygen richness is happening in Bastrika. So they are all getting strengthened. In Kapalbhati, we are only offloading carbon dioxide, offloading a lot of carbon dioxide. And oxygen level is not so much increased. So it's not much energy giving. It is a detoxifying. So by doing a combination, Bastrika and Kapalbhati should be always done in combination so that you have detoxification and energization. One increases, Bastrika increases the oxygen level in the blood and Kapalbhati decreases the carbon dioxide level in the blood. So oxygen richness in Bastrika and carbon dioxide deficiency in Kapalbhati. So when one practices Bastrika and Kapalbhati in the various regions of the body, together it is both a detoxification and energizing program. So now we did about the mouth Kapalbhati we did. Now we will do nasal Kapalbhati. Nasal Kapalbhati is very, very important. And many times, one more important thing I want to tell is this Kapalbhati, resolves many of the skin problems. For example, I have a lot of cases of psoriasis. For example, when we are doing this Kapalbhati, psoriasis which is all around the chest region, that all gets resolved because purification is happening. Skin diseases happen when there is a lot of toxins built up at the skin level. Once we are doing Kapalbhati, it removes most of the skin problem. I have plenty of cases of psoriasis. Psoriasis, as you know, is not easy to cure at all. Medicines cannot cure it at all. I have seen people so much of suffering because of the psoriasis. The whole social life comes to almost zero because so much psoriasis. So this Kapalbhati is very powerful, in solving most of the psoriasis problem. Once the psoriasis problem solves, then what is known as the psoriatic arthritis, that happens. Once all these toxins, they get built up at the joint, then we'll get arthritis and so many sort of joint problems will also start. So Kapalbhati is a very important process of purification. In ancient India, without knowing all the pathology, anatomy, physiology and all that, those rishis, they developed all these pranayams, just by pure intuition and knowledge and things like that. The world has now really, most of the people have forgotten these cleansing processes. Many times, just the cleansing process itself resolves many of our health disorders. Because many of our health disorders are through toxin removal. Kapalbhati is a very powerful toxin removal from various parts of the body. As we told, abdominal, intercostal, clavicular, then glottis, mouth, nasal. You are detoxifying part by part. Your entire body you are detoxifying. Your system become. For example, when you do Shankaprakshalana Kriya, your entire food pipe starting from the mouth and up to the rectum, it gets so much cleaned that it starts shining like a gold, It starts shining like gold. Such a purity, such a great detoxification will occur. So similarly, in this Kapalbhati, entire respiratory system, and through the respiratory system, by change in the blood chemistry, it does miraculous things to the human body. It takes the wisdom of the body. That is why it creates many times what is known as a physiological sigh or yawning. Whatever Kapalbhati we are doing is similar to yawning. You give a very long exhalation. In fact, our body does two types of Mother Nature. Mother Nature adopts two techniques for removing the toxins from our body. One is the yawning, as you know. Very long exhalation, so that you offload all the carbon dioxide inside the body. That is what happens in this one. Second one is known as, it is known as a physiological sigh. Now, recently, a lot of medical studies are being done on the physiological sigh. There is a double inhalation and long exhalation, like this. If you see a child weeping, in Kannada we say bikkiswadu. That means like this. Child weeping is like that. 2 times it inhales. Like that, So 2 times inhalation and weeping is long exhalation, offloading of the carbon dioxide. This is called a physiological sigh. This concept of physiological sigh has resulted into a very important pranayam, which if time permits, one of the next days I will be giving. It's a physiological sigh. Pranayam based on the Mother Nature's removal of the toxins. It's very, very important. Double inhalation and long exhalation. It can immediately relieve many of our anxieties, depression, worries. It is an immediate solution. Physiological sigh. 2 inhalation and long exhalation. You can even tense the body and release. The entire body is, you build up the stress and remove the stress. That is the principle of physiological sigh. So the whole Kapalbhati is based on yawning and physiological psi, which are Mother Nature is creating ourselves. In fact, every 1 hour we have not noticed this physiological psi is happening nearly 30 to 40 times in every hour. We are not noticing that. But if you are very careful in observing your own body, then you will find that nearly 30 to 40 times physiological psi is happening. You are offloading the carbon dioxide. When there is anxiety disorder, depression, worries, fears, these are all unreal. Some past event has happened. I'm worried about that. That settles as a trauma. I'm all the time worried about something that has happened in the past. But they are like real dangers, like real danger. And they settle at our body. That is why most of our problems are psychosomatic problems. In Kapalbhati, we are solving the stresses at the physical level and then solve the psychological problem. That's why it is somato-psychic, not psychosomatic. Psychosomatic is, I'm worried, all the time, unnecessarily worried. I'm worried about my neighbor. I'm worried about even my son, my parents, my friends. All these unnecessary worries, they all settle as physical disorders in our body. They settle at the physical level. This is called psychosomatic. But in Kapalbhati and Vastrika also, what we are doing is we are releasing this settled stresses at the physical level, and then it solves our psychological disorders. It's called somato-psychic. So many of these Kapalbhati practices, because of this rapid constrictions and relaxation, continuous relaxation, constriction caused by the Kapalbhati. There is a constriction, immediate relaxation. Another constriction, relaxation. It improves entire system, pathology, physiology, blood flow, lymphatic flow. Entire system is getting purified by Kapalbhati and energized by Vastrika. So Kapalbhati is very, very important. So whatever the Mother Nature is doing in the form of yawning and physiological sigh, we have copied in Pranayam as Kapalbhati. It's not any original discovery and all that. All the credit goes to the Indian sages, who discovered varieties of pranayams. Pranayam means you are touching your own being, your very own structure of your being, which is all pathological, physical, psychological, spiritual, and we are made up of these multiple personalities. These pranayam, both the energy-giving pranayam and the detoxifying pranayam, they touch at all these levels, physical, mental, psychological, spiritual, all the levels. That is the importance of the pranayam. Recently, if you see, there are a lot of medical studies are being done. Earlier, I was not knowing that Kapalbhati reduces the uric acid. I only knew that lactic acid gets reduced. And excessive lactic acid accumulation creates a lot of disorders. But recently, if you see the medical literature that is working on this respiratory system, you will find, I was also very much surprised that even uric acid, uric acid is one of the very, very difficult things. Acid, a lot of acid, your whole blood and the system becomes acidic. Then you develop a lot of problems, physiological problems. So now a lot of medical studies, whatever our ancient yogic science of pranayam, now it is coming into the medical field. In the international, for example, now my son has submitted a paper on in the medical conference on clinical studies of meditation. And similarly, there are a lot of studies done by other people, clinical studies on the people and their effects by various types of pranayam. Literature is just flowing. The world has now understood how important is this pranayam breathing. Pranayam and meditation are two very powerful techniques which totally take care of well-being, our whole body, mind, psychological, spiritual system. So, so now we were talking about this one. Now we will come to finish the whole Kapalbhati. Now we will come to nasal channel. Nasal channel is a very, very important thing. So you have to breathe out from, it's called Chandra Kapalbhati, then Surya Kapalbhati, right nostril breathe out, then alternative nostril breathe out, and both nostril breathe out. So Chandra Kapalbhati is you close the, I will show you first, then you will do. First you have to close the right nostril, then breathe out with the right nostril, left nostril. This is left nostril Kapalbhati. Then you have to do with the right nostril. You have to close the left nostril, then breathe out. Then alternative nostril breathing, like this. Then both nostrils together. So once you do this, what happens is a very important pranayama. I have seen a lot of people in our workshop, which I have conducted in India and US and all that. It has solved many problems connected with sinusitis and migraine. Because what happens, the sinus cavities, 4 pairs of the sinus cavities located on our face, they are connected to the nasal channel through an opening called ostia. Once the ostia gets blocked, then whatever the air is flowing through the nasal channel does not communicate to the sinus cavities. Then there is a stale air in the sinus cavities, and that becomes an infection site. These 2 nasal channels are so important, These nasal channels are so small, They are quarter inch wide, 1 inch height, 1.5 inch deep inside. They are filled with turbinates. There's a lot of blood flow, which air conditioning happens. When you breathe with the mouth, air conditioning happens. If the outside air is very cold, then the blood flowing in the turbinates, it warms up the air, and the air is sent to the lungs at the body temperature. Similarly, if the outside air is very hot, cooling takes place at the level of the turbinates, and air is sent at the body temperature. And pollutants are also trapped here. Most important thing is nitric acid production. Nitric acid is the one which kills all the microorganisms and virus. COVID, it is very, very, very important. That doesn't happen. Nitric oxide is generated every second. Nitric oxide is generated inside our body. For example, now they are developing nitric oxide inhaler. Once you inhale nitric oxide, then you are able to COVID viruses. They enter first from through the nose, and then they enter into the respiratory system. So right at the entry point, they are killed because of this nitric oxide. And this nitric oxide is biogenerated. Body itself generates nitric oxide when you do these pranayams. So these 2 pranayams, a lot of studies are now being done. Nitric oxide production with breathing, nasal breathing. When you're doing fast breathing, the amount of nitric oxide production increases tremendously. Nitric oxide production generally goes down with physical. If one becomes sick and all that, the nitric oxide production is reduced. One becomes old, as the person becomes old, the nitric oxide production becomes low. Because of that, their immunity also comes down. So they are more amenable to getting many, many diseases. So nitric oxide is the basic parameter generated in the epithelium layers, epithelium layers inside the nasal cavity. Since there are a lot of blood vessels, there is a high density of the blood vessels at the nasal channel, they all generate nitric oxide. So this nasal Kapalbhati is very, very important. There was a person who was attending our workshop who had lost his sense of smell, who had lost his sense of smell for many, many years. So as you know, this nasal channel, on the ceiling of the nasal channel, there is olfactory bulbs. These olfactory bulbs are the ones by which we are able to smell, smell. This particular person, olfactory bulb was not at all operating at all. He could not distinguish between rose and jasmine. He has totally lost the smell, sensation of the smell for many, many years. When he came to our workshop, when we started doing this one, his entire olfactory system came into action. Nasal channel, is a very, very important thing because it is, there are sinus cavities are there. Then the olfactory channel is there. So there are a lot of density of the nerves, cranial nerves. They are directly going to various parts of the brain, So our entire systems becomes very powerful. Sorry. When we do this nasal, so nasal Kapalbhati. Now can we do with the left nostril? Close your right nostril and breathe out, breathe out, breathe out. See, if your nostril is blocked, please don't force. If the nostril is clear, please, then you start breathing out, breathing out, breathing out. The speed of breathing and all depends on your own capacity. It purifies all the parts contained in the nasal cavity. Can you do this Chandra Kapalbhati? That is breathing out with the left nostril. Then you can breathe out with the right nostril. For that, you have to close the left nostril and breathe out with the right nostril. Then you have to do alternative. Breathe out from here, then breathe out from left, right. You have to go on closing left nostril, right nostril. Then you can do with both the nostrils. So this is very important because nitric oxide production, which is our immunity center, which is meant for whenever a microorganism or virus enters, then a lot of nitric oxide is released. And this nitric oxide, as you know, is the poisonous gas. For example, in the environmental thing, nitric oxide is considered as a poison. Ozone layer, it blocks the ozone layer and it creates a lot of problems in the environment. But when the biogeneration of nitric oxide takes place, body itself is generating the nitric oxide. It is a great immunity enhancer. That is why all these pranayams, nitric oxide is the most important thing. If you see the literature now, nitric oxide was not known at all till 1998. It is only about 15-20 years back the importance of nitric oxide was known. Biogeneration of nitric oxide, and 3 people were awarded Nobel Prize for discovery of this nitric oxide generation at the epithelium layers inside the body. There's a lot of epithelium layers. Once the nitric oxide is properly generated, then our cardiovascular system works wonderfully. Because all these blood vessels, the flexing of the blood vessels is made possible only because of the nitric oxide production. It is a miracle how the Mother Nature manufactures this nitric oxide at the epithelium layer of the body. In fact, in 2000, I think nitric oxide was declared as the miracle wonder molecule of the year. Whole of that 2000, it was described as the wonder molecule of the year. That is the importance of nitric oxide. And the breathing, biogeneration of the nitric oxide, it correctly generates what is the amount of nitric oxide. If the nitric oxide generation is reduced, then our immunity level comes down and we become susceptible to many diseases. So this Kapalbhati by purification and Bastrika by energization, it improves the functioning of all the body, including our various glands, blood vessels, organs. Everything is taken totally care of because it's a detoxification and energization. These are the 2 important things that happen. So this is the nasal Kapalbhati. So we did Intercoastal Kapalbhati, exhalation, only exhalation in Kapalbhati. Intercoastal Kapalbhati we did Clavicular Kapalbhati, we did Glottis Kapalbhati, we did Mouth Kapalbhati, then we did Nasal Kapalbhati. And then beginning itself, I showed you this abdominal Kapalbhati. By doing this Kapalbhati all over the body, the total detoxification takes place. So now, one more thing I want to tell, a very important thing I want to tell is, for example, when we are doing this Kapalbhati, two energies are coming. One is the kinetic energy. For example, this moving, muscle is moving. So it is a kinetic energy. Then I am synchronizing the breath with this movement. So aerodynamic energy. So kinetic energy and aerodynamic energy. Both energy, synergy between two energies is happening. One is the kinetic energy at this level and aerodynamic. For example, I am combining kinetic energy and breath synchronization. Now thought energy. Thought energy is mind as a tremendous energy. Thought energy. Now, to enhance this thought energy, now little bit complex Kapalbhati is made. For example, this Kapalbhati, what we did, this is now becomes a segmented serial Kapalbhati. That means you do 4 breaths of Kapalbhati with the left, then 4 breaths with the right, then 4 breaths with both, then again repetition of this. For example, I'll show you. Same Kapalbhati. When you do this, so when I combine all these 3, very interesting thing happens, the thought energy gets. When I am just doing like this, the thought can go on an autopilot, I am doing this, subconscious system will start doing, and I will start thinking something else, yesterday's, tomorrow, some worries, some anxieties. Mind will be going in a different direction, and this will be doing, only kinetic energy will be going on. Whereas, once I make the system complicated, then the mind will now be all the time anchored. It is all the time, it's not simple now. All the time mind will be thinking, am I breathing with the left nostril, left clavicle? Am I doing with the right hand? Am I doing with the both hand? Then again left hand, right hand, both hand. And when you are synchronized, mind will be all the time thinking, what next? What next? It gets anchored to the breath. So the sequencing of these various pranayams, you add a lot of thought energy. Then it is the synergy between multiple energies. For example, there is a kinetic energy, aerodynamic energy. So thought energy is also getting added. If I going on doing only this, there is kinetic energy and aerodynamic energy. Mind is going on somewhere else. But once I make it this, again, this make complicated. I'm creating a complicated protocol, then it has to follow that program. Mind will try to follow program. Every time the body wisdom will ask, doing then this one. Then wisdom tells next you are doing this. Then next you are doing this. All the time the mind is getting anchored to your own body and your own breath. So this is a tremendous energy generation, synergy. It solves many problems. So shall we try to do this little bit complicated? But see, you do 4 breaths, same amount of the breath we have to do. This clavicular Kapalbhati, what we have done, now we'll do 4 breaths with left hand, immediately followed by 4 breaths with right hand, immediately followed by 4 breaths with both hands, then again 4 breaths with 4 exhalations with left hand, 4 exhalations with right hand, 4 exhalations with this one. Again repeating. These rounds are repeated. I'll once again show you, this is a very important. You may not be able to immediately, especially for children, it is very important. It develops their memory, cognition system, decision-making capacity. Because all the time now your brain, mind, this thing is coming into the picture, decision-making, you are making decision now. First move this, do this, without any fault. So whole cognition system becomes very important. So especially the school-going children, college children, those who are learning new things and things like that, for them, the cognition efficiency will increase because all the time thinking and implementing the thinking, memory, everything is good. It's very important for increasing the memory. So once again, I'll demonstrate. Please do this sequential complex clavicular Kapalbhati. Okay. So I will first show you. First, I'll do 4 breaths with this. Then immediately followed by 4 exhalations with here, followed by 4 exhalations together, then again 4 exhalations left, 4 exhalations right, then 4 exhalations together. Watch me now. It requires tremendous focused attention. The mind will implement focused attention, then all decision making and everything gets trained. Watch me now. These are the very important pranayams are made more and more and more complicated to bring our brain and cognition system into the. Can you try now? Do 4 breaths with this, then followed by 4 breaths with this, followed by 4 breaths with this, then again 4. Please try. It depends. If your mind wanders, you will not be able to do this. I can see some of you are doing so well. Yes. Same 4 breaths. Number of breaths also should not change. It is the same 4 breaths with left hand, right hand, both hands. Again, left hand, right hand, both sides. Your mind has to follow that particular program. Yeah, please come back. Please come back. Please come back. These are the various complexities which are introduced to make challenging problem, to throw the mind a lot of challenging things in. Then the brain will develop. The moment you challenge, then we evolve. So all these pranayams are very, very important. So Kapalbhati pranayams are all purificators. So basically what we have done is abdominal Kapalbhati we did, then intercoastal Kapalbhati we did for cleansing this region of the body. Then we did clavicular Kapalbhati. Then we did this glottis Kapalbhati, which are in multiple directions. Glottis Kapalbhati. And then we did the mouth Kapalbhati. Then we did nasal Kapalbhati. That means segment by segment, we have purified and detoxified our entire body. How wonderful it is that our whole body chemistry. That is why we are so lucky that the Mother Nature has given us power to change the breath. For example, Mother Nature has not given power to control our heart. We cannot control our heart. We cannot control our digestive system. We cannot control our brain. But we can control our breath. Through the breath, you can control your heart. You can control the brain. You can control every function in the body can be controlled by the breath. Breath is the essential thing. When we are born, our life comes when the first breath goes in. That is how the life starts. And the life ends when the last breath goes. In between life, birth and death, it is a series of breathing. What sort of breathing happens governs what type of life we live. For example, our on the last Sunday, I'll be talking of slow breathing pranayam and breath holding. When till now we have been doing all fast breathing pranayams, both Bhastrika and Kapalbhati, they are fast breathing pranayam. Instead of breathing 15 per minute, we are breathing 50 per minute, 60 per minute, 100 per minute. So they are energy giving and detoxifying. But the slow breathing pranayams, which I'll cover in the last Sunday, we are slowing down the breath to great extent. Then our psychosomatic system will come. Well, what's two systems? One is the sympathetic system and parasympathetic system. So when we are doing this fast breathing and all, it is a sympathetic fight and flight energy. When you see some danger outside, either you have to fight with that danger or you have to run away. It's called fight and flight. So a lot of energy goes to the limbs, legs, hands, eyes, lot of blood. It will stop blood supply from the other things, And when the danger is there, digestion system, immunity, they are not at all important. So Mother Nature, what it does, when it sees the nature, it cuts off blood supply to the digestive system. It cuts off blood supply to the other parts of the system, and it directs only to limbs because it prepares you. Survival is the most important thing. At that point, it is not immunity and all those things are in. It is a survival at that moment is the important. It is fight or flight. So a lot of this oxygenated blood goes to the various limbs, legs, hands, brain, lot of things goes to the brain and things like that. So by controlling the breathing, we can bring either sympathetic, fast breathing, sympathetic energy, we can bring fight or flight. By slow breathing, we can bring psychosomatic, It's called rest, relax, rejuvenate. Instead of fight and flight, psychosomatic system is rest, relax, and rejuvenate. Entire recreation happens, For example, when we will discuss about the breath holding is very, very important. Breath holding is a miraculous thing. It leads to a lot of focused energy. Those people who do a lot of wonderful scientific discoveries and all that, their immediately breath stops, Entire everywhere the blood supply stops and only to the brain it goes, because you are tackling a particular important problem. Focused attention. So Mother Nature fortunately has given us control over the breath. Through the breath, if we learn how to exactly do the various pranayams through the breath, we can handle all the systems in our body. For example, when the psychosomatic thing happens, our heart rate goes down, blood flow goes down, heart gets the deepest attention. Very interesting thing you should notice if you see some of these medical curves, graphs, if you see, during the inhalation, the heart is racing, heart is speeding up during inhalation, and during the exhalation, the heart is going up. So that is why nature has made us our exhalation much longer than the inhalation. During the inhalation, heart is racing, very, very fast. It's trying to supply blood to various parts of the body. And during exhalation, heart is relaxing. So nature has made exhalation slightly longer than the inhalation. So breath is such a wonderful thing, which our ancient Indian rishis, they discovered this. Now pranayam has become a very important technique for improving the overall well-being of a human person. So we how much time I have now? 6 o'clock.
You have another 27 minutes.
Yeah. So these are the basically I have covered in the last session. We covered all the Bhastrikas, that is fast breathing. Now we must clearly understand. Now I want you to find the difference between what is Bhastrika and what is Kapalbhati. That we'll do with you will realize it when we do it, for example, with this thing, clavicular. Once we'll do clavicular Bhastrika, then we'll do clavicular Kapalbhati. Then you will find the difference. In clavicular Bhastrika, which we did, both inhalation and exhalation, both are active. For example, when my clavicle goes up, I'm breathing in. Clavicle comes down, I'm breathing up. Like this. So in Kapalbhati, what I'm doing, I'm not breathing in at all. Breathing in is passive. Consciously, I'm breathing out only. Bhastrika is, Kapalbhati is, try to see the difference between, first do clavicular Bhastrika. That means when it is going up, breathe in. Coming down, breathe out. Now, immediately after this, when it is going up, you are breathing in. Coming down, you are breathing. Breathing in, breathing out. Now come to stop. Please stop practicing. Stop practicing. Now you do Bhastrika, Kapalbhati, only breathing out when it is coming down. Going up is you are not breathing in, passive. Kapalbhati, both are active. Inhalation is also active. Exhalation is also active. In Kapalbhati, it is exhalation oriented. Only exhalation is active. Inhalation is passive. So this is the So when we do by various parts of our body, Bhastrika and Kapalbhati. One is inhalation domination. Bhastrika is inhalation domination. Instead of breathing in 15 per minute, we'll be breathing in Bhastrika 60 per minute, 100 per minute. Tremendous amount of ventilation is happening into the brain and oxygen richness is happening. Whereas in Kapalbhati, you are breathing only exhaling, offloading all the carbon dioxide. Offloading all the carbon dioxide. Once you start offloading all the carbon dioxide, many of our anxiety disorders, they go out. Because when there are anxiety disorders, there is a lot of carbon dioxide accumulation in the body. That is how, when you have physical fatigue, mental fatigue, Mother Nature creates that yawn. Long exhalation to reduce the carbon dioxide level. Similarly, in physiological sigh, that this is the way Mother Nature, it handles all our physical fatigue, mental fatigues and things like that. It handles it. You want to ask any questions or what do you want me to exactly do? Because next time anyway, as Dr. Sneha Kulkarni told, next Sunday, first session of the next Sunday, we'll be practicing all the Bhastrikas and all the Kapalbhatis. Then you will clearly know the difference between the two, and then it will absorb in the mind. We'll entire 1 hour of the next Sunday, we'll send for revision. We'll do only revision. I will not do much explaining at all. We'll only practice. We'll practice Bhastrika, we'll practice Kapalbhati. And once you do that, then you will get, because ultimately, just understanding is very important. Once understanding is very important. But understanding is not everything. It is a practice, by which you change your body, you change your mind. In fact, all these pranayam, they change our behavior. Our behavior itself is getting changed. An angry person is all the time over-breathing, over-breathing. Right. One of the person who attended my workshop, he was a CEO of a very big company, So he was very composed person. He never used to get angry. But sometimes when he gets so angry because somebody has done very wrong, then immediately he used to tell me that he will take 5 deep breaths inside. Then all his anger will go away. The attention will be shifted from that anger. Anger is energy. Breath is also energy. So from that anger, once you start breathing, then it goes to the slow breathing. So the parasympathetic system will come. So by mastering the pranayam, we can change whatever in our life. It is such an important thing. In fact, it plays a similar role as in meditation. But meditation is very difficult because you are dealing with the thoughts. Thoughts are intangible. Very difficult. Sometimes there are obsessive, so many thoughts coming. And how do you control the thoughts? It's not so easy. It requires tremendous practice. You can do it, but it requires tremendous understanding and practice and all that. Meditation, you are directly handling.
I think it's going to be published very soon, and he will provide the scientific basis and the medical background of pranayama and the various aspects, the positive aspects on health. Am I right, Nitin?
Yes, yeah, thank you so much. I'm very excited for next week. It will be really wonderful, I think. And thank you for including me in the program.
We can't avoid you. You are joined together, you and your dad. So it has to be all together. That's the best way.
Can I just say a few things? Welcome, Nitin. Hello again. This is a book that that Prahalad was mentioning about. I don't know whether everybody can see it.
Yes.
So this is the pranayama techniques that Prahalad was mentioning about. And this is actually available in Amazon UK, but I got it from Amazon India. And then got it here. I think in Amazon India, it is, I think 300 rupees or something. I don't know. In UK, it was 25 pounds. So, I mean, I can't describe how grateful we are to Dr. Prahlad Rohn and also Dr. Nitin Rohn. I mean, it was an absolute treatise in not just pranayama, but medicine, physiology, pathology, biochemistry, and also psychology. And the way Dr. Prahladji put everything together, it's is absolutely amazing. And for people who don't know about his background, Dr. Prahladji is a scientist, or he used to be a scientist at the Bhabha Atomic Research Center in Mumbai, and he retired as the head of the Accelerator and Pulse Power Division of the Bhabha Atomic Research Center. And he is also the chairman, he was the chairman of the Steering Committee on Electron Beam Center in Kharghar, and the chairman of Safety Review Committee on Particle Accelerators in India, constituted by the Atomic Energy Regulatory Board. So he has had, I mean, I think we are really privileged to have such a high achieving personality, and that, and you know, delving very deeply in pranayama and yoga and everything. I also have to mention that he has published a book called Fundamentals of Pulse Power Technology in 2017. That was deemed as a landmark in that field. So I think we are really privileged to have Dr. Prahladji teach us all these things.
Girish, shall we go to Q&A?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Please raise your hand so that we can go to Q&A to Prahladji. Let me unpin a few of you. So let's focus with them. Just a sec. Prahladji, I think I'll take your first question because I've been making lots of notes when when you're talking about it. So one of the questions I have right now, is it a process, i.e., is it a Kapalbhati first or is it a Bhatrika first? How do we deal with this? Is it a you know, how do we exercise ourselves? So that is my first question, if you can answer.
See, order is not that important. First you can do Kapalbhati, and next you can do Bhastrika, or first you can do Bhastrika and Kapalbhati. Order is not at all important, because they are independent processes. One is the detoxification and purification process, which is Kapalbhati, and the other one is oxygenation and energy giving, which is Bhastrika, and the slow breathing pranayam. So it's not important in the order who will do the slow breathing pranayam, Bhastrika pranayam, and Kapalbhati. I think order is not important.
Thank you. Let's go to Praveen.
Hello, thank you. I probably had two questions. One is more a clarification. Just getting a bit confused about the abdominal pranayam for both Bhastrika and Kapalbhati in terms of synchronizing it with exhalation and inhalation. Now, probably just a bit of clarification. I think is it the other way, opposite way around for either of them, meaning that for Kapalbhati, your abdomen pushed in. Am I getting confused?
Yeah. Abdomen pushed in, then exhale.
Yeah, that's it. The second question is more about you talked about sympathetic, so fight, flight reaction and those things. Now, I just wanted to see if there was any more sort of info or knowledge about a bit of an extension of the fight flight. There is this thing, another thing, physiological state, freeze response
Yes.
it's more like a later years, so it's more like the playing dead or something. Now, why I ask is that is in states where there is a sort of an immense threat and there's no escape, freeze response becomes the default position, and sort of a lot of havoc is created, both mentally and of course somatic as well. Do you have any views about where the pranayama sits with that particular aspect of hypersympathetic or dysregulated sympathetic? Thank you.
Freeze, as you know, it is actually fight, flight, and freeze. Okay, fight. There is our internal cognition system is active. It knows what to do. You want to either fight or flight. Okay. In the freeze, it is sort of a hopelessness. I feel that I am incapable at all. For example, when a tiger comes to attack, either we have to fight or you have to fight. If you freeze, tiger will come and swallow us. So freeze is a state of hopelessness, when we are totally helpless state. So we have to be very careful to avoid the freeze state. Many times COVID, for example, the fear of the COVID person loses all it. He becomes hopeless. He thinks I am helpless now. Once that attitude comes, then neither fight will take place nor flight will take place. So we have to be very carefully watch the thought processes that happens within us. The moment I feel that I am incapable, you have to immediately arrest that thought. And you have to build a positive thought. I can handle it. So it is very important. That is where I think when Nitin will be taking about meditation and all that, so the thought process is also very important. The thoughts and our breathing, attention, all these things have played together. So freeze is a very, many times freeze happens because we think we are in a hopeless situation. So we have to be very careful that freeze does not happen. And that positive thinking is very important. Yes, I can handle it. And many of the things can be handled at our internal level, psychological level. Once we get anxiety and all that, then slowly it will lead to freeze state. Once we get into anxiety, depression, and this sort of psychological stresses, then our body yields, Psychosomatic effect happens. Then the stresses will develop, then I will not be able to breathe at all. Freeze is almost breathing is held, blood flow reduces, oxygenation reduces, everything. You surrender, right? Mm-hmm. So it's very important to keep the fight and flight and avoid the freeze. So that is why our thought process is very, very important.
Good.
Thank you.
Nice.
I have a quick comment, an additional comment, if I may, just for a quick minute on answering that question as well.
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Yeah, and the question is very important of the freeze response, because the fight, flight, and freeze are three components in the brain of what is called the amygdala hijack. The amygdala is the primitive part of the brain, and when the amygdala takes over, we lose our rational thinking, and so therefore you have fight, flight, or freeze. And as Dad explained very beautifully, the pranayama itself serves as a form of meditation, because the only way to get out of this amygdala hijack is a two-step process. Number one is to understand that your amygdala is being hijacked, and number two, to disengage from it. So Papa's patterned pranayam, where he was mentioning raising the hands and following a pattern, that takes your mind away from being lost in the box of being in the midst of the amygdala hijack. And even the slow breathing pranayams center you. So therefore, what pranayams Papa explained, they help us to understand, aha, my amygdala is now being hijacked. So the moment the realization comes, then the next step is I can take a deep breath, take a step away from it, and disengage myself from it. So it's a very relevant question. And, at a neuroscience level, also the pranayam is helpful in all the three components, the fight, the flight, and the freeze. And an unrelated, very quick additional comment is on Papa's nitric oxide and how he was explaining. It's incredible because we actually, myself and Dr. Gautam Suresh, the chief of pediatrics at Baylor, we have submitted a paper comparing the pranayam techniques to ventilation in newborn babies, when we actually use mechanical ventilators, and how these breaths that we do synchronize and have similarity with babies on ventilators, and how we can cause medical improvement. So including nitric oxide, which we routinely use in neonatology for pulmonary hypertension. So a lot of what Papa said has an immense amount of medical basis, and this is what I think makes it very exciting. Sorry, I think I spoke for a long time, and I'll go back to the question answer session.
Not at all. Not at all. I think just, yes, you can carry on if there's anything you can tell. It's brilliant. Yes, very good. Thanks a lot.
Welcome.
Yeah. Okay. Any more? Girish, any more?
I have a question to Prahalad ji. Am I audible? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right. Do you recommend these exercises during any part of the day, early in the day, late in the day, middle of the day? When do you think the systems are better receptive?
Yeah, I think that is a very, very important question. All these pranayams, they have to be done on empty stomach. For example, the best time will be as soon as you get up in the morning or in the evening. But if you have already, if you have already taken breakfast, then you must have a gap of 1.5 hours. If you have lunch or dinner, then you require 3.5 to 4 hours gap. So stomach should be empty. Because what happens during all these pranayams, the blood chemistry is changing and the blood is redirected to, for example, when I am doing clavicular breathing, all the blood is directed to the clavicles only. So it cuts off from the digestive system. So if on full stomach, if I start doing all this, then things like because blood supply is cut to the digestive system, then things like indigestion, constipation, these things can happen. So empty stomach is very important. So either in the morning or in the evening or with correct gaps, 1.5 hours after breakfast or 3.5 after lunch or dinner. Then we can do the pranayams. It's a very, very important question.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question, please?
Yeah, please.
I've seen some people, when I've been in India on holidays and all, I've seen some people who, because they wake up very early, 4 o'clock, can't sleep anymore. So they do partly the pranayama on empty stomach, of course. And then come half an hour later, they feel sleepy and go back to sleep. And then when they wake up, they start again. Is that, I mean, does it make sense? To me, it didn't make sense. I think once you start, you should complete it and you don't go back to sleep because it's a daytime anyway. So can you tell me what you feel about this?
I think it is okay because sleep is a very, very important thing. If a person is not getting a sleep, then you have to use it for that sleep purpose. And then you can, afterwards, you can use it for some other purpose. Actually, all the pranayama and meditation are awakening. They are for the awakening, for awakening. But they can be used for solving, for example, insomnia is there, or I have got diabetes, I have got hypertension. So therapy-oriented things, we can use it for that purpose. But ultimately, both pranayama and meditation are for the purpose of self-realization. Self-realization. In the earlier days, for example, Patanjali never talked of pranayams for health purpose and all that. It was only for shifting our consciousness. It was only for the purpose of self-realization. But the modern days, very few people are interested in self-realization. They want to be fit, healthy, and day-to-day work and all that. They want to have good relationship and sort of good energy and detoxification. See, these days we are using pranayama for the purpose of our efficient daily activities, both relationship and that. So it is okay. But at some stage, the main purpose why it was developed was for self-realization. Later on, now the modern medical science, as it is advancing, they find the importance of that is for the pathology, physiology, psychology, since it plays respect in all our being. So that is why it is being adopted. But ultimately, the main purpose of the spiritual upliftment or self-realization, that should not be forgotten. The whole pranayama was really developed for the purpose of awakening of the Kundalini. Kundalini is just like we have got a method of devotion, we have got a method of meditation, like that, awakening of the Kundalini is another method of self-realization. Pranayama was mainly developed for the purpose of the awakening of the various chakras or energy distributions inside our body, and awakening of the Sushumna Nadi, which is our internal energies, wisdom of the body, By Kundalini awakening or meditation, we start listening to the wisdom of our body, the mother nature. So that was the main purpose. That should not be forgotten, but applying it to solve our daily problems of relationships and health and all that, I think it's okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Prahlad, I got a question for you. You did tell me when we met in India that you had a great experience while you were working in atomic energy, and you were asked to conduct a workshop for the highly stressed work people, and how it helped to bring about the transformation of the anxiety, stress, how the production of the workforce improved. Can you share your ideas about that, please?
Yes. Arvind, thank you very much. I love to share this. See, what happens? Atomic Energy is such a beautiful organization, very progressive-minded organization. There are brilliant scientists, who are doing a lot of research in nuclear power programs, nuclear power stations, nuclear weapons, defense. Lots of varieties of activities are being done. And because of that, there are a lot of, whenever there is a genius, there is always like a razor edge, Stupidity and genius, they go together, You start becoming full of pride and all that, arrogance, and these things also will develop. So the department thought, Department of Atomic Energy, they thought, why not introduce yoga during the working hours? It's a great decision, because during working hours means you are losing so much of manpower, important, nationwide important work being done in the atomic energy. And the highest body of the atomic energy is called the Trombay Council, took a decision, let us introduce yoga during the working hours. Then they sent a notification to all the departments. Dr. Ron will be conducting this one, because I was very good in all my technical contribution. If one person is very good in yoga and his professional activities is zero, let us say he is not contributing anything in his creative activities in the job, then it is not so motivating. Since I was having a tremendously good technical contributions, and I was one of the first yoga teachers in the atomic energy. So the department asked me, you please conduct during the working hours. Then they sent a notification. Can you imagine 880 applications came, and there was no place in the establishment where I could teach 880 people. It was a very difficult thing. But we took about 250 people we took in the first batch. There was a big place. Then I started conducting, I formed a 3 weeks course. 3 weeks course in consultation with the director of the Yoga Vidya Niketan, from where I did my yoga teacher's course, Sadashiv Nimbalkar. So I and Sadashiv Nimbalkar, is the director of Yoga Vidya Niketan, we sat together, we drew a syllabus. So we are teaching about 15 asanas, 3 pranayams, and 1 simple type of meditation. So I gave it for 3 weeks. 3 weeks during the working hours. At the end of, because you see how many, 220 people, 1.5 hours every day for 5 weeks. Sorry, 5 weeks means how many man hours are lost. So the department wanted to find out whether it has really brought benefit to the organization. Yeah. Then afterwards, they sent letters to the bosses of the people who had attended the workshop. Do you think the person who attended, has it benefited you in the program and all that? And then when that opinion survey was conducted, then the unanimous opinion was it has decreased the conflict and improved the efficiency. So improvement in the efficiency and conflict reduction. Then they wanted to make, they made it a permanent part of the program. So I conducted classes for the top management, for all the employees and things like that. So this yoga karmasu kaushalam, if you see, in Bhagavad Gita, it comes there. If you do yoga, you become expert in your work, your knowledge improves, your physical health, you don't have to live because I am sick and all that. So it produces an overall synergetic action that your physical well-being, mental well-being, and your qualities like not getting angry and this relationship issues and all. Yoga solves them at various levels. So that experience was a great experience, conducting yoga workshop during the working hours. So that, so in BARC hospital, allopathy and you, there are a lot of doctors who are trained yoga teachers. So they give all the medical treatment, allopathy and diagnostics and all that. And the doctors also teach the patients yoga, pranayama, meditation and all that. And by this, you find that the hospital stay becomes shorter and your immunity is improved and people feel very nice, well-being of the people. So relationship between management and people improves and things like that.
Thank you very much.
Anyone has any questions to Dr. Praladji? You could raise your hand or start talking. Okay.
Okay.
Girish and Madhusudan, shall we go to, because this is the nick of the time now.
I think
It's 1 o'clock, so.
I think we can go to the vote of thanks now.
Vote of thanks,
Yes.
okay.
Thanks, sir. Yes.
Okay, let's go to vote of thanks. Again, Praladji, this is another workshop that incredible, beautiful, knowledgeable, and this should be this pranayama. What I understand right now is this should be in curriculum in schools across UK. I tell you, this should be the course that we're gonna start thinking about it, because this knowledge that you have shared today is immense. I learned a lot of things. I made a lot of notes also, using nasal Kapalbhati, how it's going to help me, my skin and other things. And I'm not going to go into details, and also psychological, of course, physiological. And also like the other side of the story, like particle physics you're talking about, and then how it comes to. So imagine the particle physics and human being and pranayama and yoga it is nature's gift. I think you have given us that knowledge. I think we can take it forward. I would think everyone attended class today. They were immensely involved in doing the exercise, taking everything seriously. And again, once again, I thank you, Praladji, and thank again to Nitin ji also, because he's early morning, I suppose, maybe 7 o'clock out there. Maybe he joined over 6 o'clock and making things, and contributing to it. We look forward to see you next week, Nitin ji. And it was wonderful. I have no doubt it will be another mesmerizing event next week. And I thank everyone who attended this event, this workshop. There is no doubt in anyone's mind that it is fully delivered what is said on the workshop. And I really like that people take this away and work within, and also spread the news and let them involve and let them get happy, let them get fitter, let them get stronger as a human being, as well as a society, I suppose. The next thing that I like to thank everyone in EC, like for example, Dr. Sneha Kulkarni, Arvind Kulkarni. Without Arvind Kulkarni and Sneha Kulkarni, we'd never met you. But imagine that relationship that happened. Again, Madhusudan and Girish, Dr. Girish, and also Dr. We have Praveen. He's also part of the EC. And everyone in EC contributing to make this event a successful event. And I really thank everyone during this occasion. And we will wrap this up saying that 12th, next week, 12th of December at 11 o'clock, let's start again with the power of pranayama. Now I like to say this, power of pranayama. It should be another note on this. So let's say thank you everyone who attended it. On this note, I like to close the workshop. Is there anything that I heard that Auntie want to say something? Please go ahead.
Yes, just one comment on what I'm going to say. We are, me and Arvind are very proud to have known Prahlad because Arvind and Prahlad have been childhood friends. So they know each other for the last 70 years. I'm very proud. So after we got married, I've met Prahlad. For the last 50 years, I've known him. And I'm very proud to know that he is really our very close friend. And we just, I just don't know. I don't think mentally and education-wise or knowledge-wise, I don't think I'll match anywhere very close to him. I'm too low in that. He's fantastic. Absolutely. Just wanted to say that to everybody.
No, that's incredible, Auntie and Arvind uncle, because without this great man, I would call it, great gentleman with Prahlad, I feel that you are like, Swami Vivekananda, or kind of, I see you in that. And it is wonderful that we met you through uncle and auntie. And that knowledge has come to all of us, like including AC and things like that. Thank you. And if anyone has any thought process or anything that you can, if you want to ask the question, you can ask it, but if you don't, then I'll wrap it up here. Thank you. Appreciate it. See you again.
Thank you.